Hey guys, this will be our first video note for Unit 3. So we're starting a new unit. We're talking about systems. One of the TEKs is formulating or writing systems from word problems, and another TEK is solving them. So we're going to do this in two parts. So today we're going to just set up the equations. And then the next video I do will be on solving them. So to set up an equation, what you want to do, obviously, step one, read the problem. Step two, we need to define the variables. Okay, so let's do that. 8 pens and 7 pencils cost $3.37, while 5 pens and 11 pencils cost $3.10. What is the cost of each pen and each pencil? So defining the variables, you're looking for the question. So we're looking for the cost of each pen and the cost of each pencil. So we're going to need a variable for each. So I'm going to go ahead and use let's use P for, now let's use N for cost of pen, of each pen. So N will represent the cost of each pen. And then I'm going to go ahead and use C. You can use whatever letter you want. You could use X or Y, X and Y, whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and use C to represent the cost of each pencil. Okay? So setting up the equation. 8 pens and 7 pencils cost $3.37. So if we're getting 8 pens, we would take 8 times the cost of each pen. So that would be 8N. Adding 7 pencils, the cost of each pencil is C, so 7 times C will give us the cost of the pencils. The total cost, if we buy 8 pens and 7 pencils, is going to be $3.37. Okay, next one, we have 5 pens and 11 pencils. And this total cost is $3.10. And there's your system of equations. We have 2 rows by 3 columns. It's a 2 by 3 system. Number 2. I'm going to go ahead and let you read this one to yourself. So pause the video and read it, please. All right, it says find the fixed cost and the cost per mile. So right there they tell us the 2 pieces of information that we need to find. So we're going to use a variable for each. So I'm going to go ahead and use, I think I'll just go ahead and use C for fixed cost. You could use F. So this is some amount of money. It's fixed, which means it doesn't change. And then the cost per mile, I'm going to go ahead and use M for cost per mile. Okay? Now, let's figure out what some of these equations are. It says it's a 50-mile trip. It costs $112. Okay? So we're going to have to take 50 miles times the cost per mile plus, and we don't know what this fixed cost is going to be. So this fixed amount, we're going to have to add that on. And that total is $112. Next, an 80-mile trip. So 80 miles times the cost per mile plus some fixed cost and that total is going to be $157. Each system is going to be different, so you're going to have to think about how this is going to be set up. Okay? Turn the page. Go ahead and pause the video and read the problem. All right, welcome back. It says, how many coffees did they sell? So we're looking for the number of coffee cups. Notice it's in cups. So how many cups of coffee? Well, they must have been selling something else too. It says hot chocolate and coffee. So we're going to need a variable for the number of coffee cups. Let's go ahead and use C for the number of coffee cups. And for hot chocolate, let's go ahead and use H. Remember, you can use whatever variable you want. Number of hot chocolate cups. Okay? So what does it tell us? It says that at one game, they sold $200 worth of drinks. Okay, so we got a money total. They used 295 cups. There's another total. Well, right off the bat, we can use this total to set up an equation. If we take the number of coffee cups plus the number of hot chocolate cups, should total 295 cups. Make sense? Next, the money. Well, they tell us that hot chocolate sells for 75 cents and coffee sells for 50 cents. So since I started with C, I'm going to go ahead and do the 50 cents. So 50 cents times the number of chocolate cups we sell, coffee, excuse me, plus 75 cents for hot chocolate. And the total amount of money that they made, they sold $200 worth. And that is your system. Go ahead and pause the video. Read number 4. Welcome back. We have to find the amount invested at each rate. So we have two rates. We have 5% and 8%. So I'm going to go ahead and use F to represent the amount invested at 5%. And I'm going to go ahead and use E for the amount invested at 8%. So remember, we're looking for two amounts. Well, here's a total amount. So that should be an easy one to set up. The amount invested at 5% plus the amount invested at 8% gives us a total amount vested or invested for $1,400. That's the total amount invested. Okay, the next thing they tell us is that we make some money. We make 5% off of an amount, we make 8% off of an amount, and we make a total of $100. So to figure out 5%, we're going to take 0.05 of the amount invested at 5% plus 0.08, 8% of the amount invested at 8%. And there's your there's your system of equations right there. 2 by 3. Okay, last one. Going on 10 minutes. So read it, pause the video, read it. Okay, welcome back. How many of each kind did they sell? So we know that they sold cheaper dresses and expensive dresses. So I'm going to go ahead and use C for the number of cheap dresses sold. And I'm going to go ahead and use E for the number of expensive dresses sold. Okay? So they sold the cheaper dresses for $90 each. Okay? So $90 for each of the cheap dresses and $140 for the expensive dresses. Well, since these are both money numbers, we're going to total it to money. Okay, next. Now, this one's probably the most challenging equation here. It says they sold 20 more of the cheaper dresses than the expensive dresses. So we want to set up an equation, so we want them to be equal. So since we sold 20 more of the cheaper dresses, we're going to have to add 20 to the expensive dresses in order to make them equal. It says we sold 20 more of the cheaper dresses than the expensive dresses. So for example, maybe 40, I'm just throwing out a number, 40 cheaper dresses versus 20 more cheaper dresses than 40. So we'd have to add 20 to the expensive dresses in order to be equal to the cheaper dresses. I hope that makes sense. So we had to add 20 to the number of expensive dresses in order to equal the number of cheaper dresses. Sorry guys, I went over 10 minutes by a little bit. So please look these over, and on the next video we will solve them.